kids are super needy and they're really good manipulators. And sometimes they need to be told no because you need to take a step back so you don't snap. It's just a reality of dealing with people 24/7. These ones just happen to be people you're responsible for. Do you miss having time for Jesus and yourself, but you're drowning in the responsibilities of motherhood? If so, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Cheryl, wife, girl mom, and Jesus follower. I learned the not-so-secret ways to become the mom my girls needed by prioritizing Jesus back into my mom life and reclaiming my identity in Christ. If you're ready to build faith while washing dishes, rediscover your identity, and love yourself like your babies do, grab your earbuds and lock that bathroom door for a minute alone. It's time for Mom. Hi, beautiful. Welcome to the Time for Mom podcast. I'm your host, Cheryl. If this is your first time here, welcome. I am super excited to have you joining us today. Before we dive in, though, I did want to make sure that everybody knows that there is a free workshop coming up in April, and I'm so excited. It's going to be a 45-minute workshop, most likely on a Tuesday. It might be on a Monday. I'm still figuring that out, hence the to-be-announced date. And to top it all off, there will be a replay available. So if that's something you're interested, even if you're busy on those days, let me know so you can get the replay. Why should you join this workshop? Well, if you want to find time to reconnect to God, do anything you enjoy, and maybe even find yourself in motherhood, but every time you try, you are consumed with mom guilt, you should come. I know it's tempting to hide in the bathroom and lock the door. I have done it myself, but you don't have to escape motherhood to find the time you crave. The Time for Mom workshop is going to help you find the small, doable shifts you can make to find the time you are desperately craving. All it takes is small shifts you can make in motherhood. Little choices that will allow you to start coming alive as a mom, learning what to prioritize to keep you and your family healthy, body, mind, and soul. So come over to bit.ly Time for Mom, subscribe, and there will be a link in the show notes, and don't miss out. Plus, you'll happen to get access to the over 60 devotions that are already on there, get a new one every Monday with the upcoming episodes, and you will get the date for that April workshop. And now let's dive into today's episode. There are seasons of rest and seasons where it seems like you can't rest no matter how hard you try. And unfortunately, this is just kind of the reality. When we think of rest, we think of sleep, right? And if you've had a child, you know how hard it is to find physical rest. With our first daughter, sleep really wasn't a problem until she was like 9 months old. We got sleep. She started sleeping 6 hours or so at a time pretty darn early because she could stay full on my milk because I was like a human Jersey cow. I had a lot of it and it was full of fat. But anyway, with our second daughter, this was absolutely not the case. We had milk issues, which equaled no sleep to us because I wasn't lactating enough, and we had latch problems, which means she was getting a lot of air and was in a lot of pain. And in all honesty, if there wasn't some divine intervention that had us reach out to a dear friend, we would have lost her in a day or two because she was so dehydrated. And that created a lot of sleep problems that we dealt with for 6 months, I think. It was a long time. The only one in the house who got rest was our oldest child because she can sleep through a hurricane. We couldn't sleep. We had to work through the lactation problems and the latch problems. And by the time we got to that, our youngest didn't want to go to sleep without being held, and she didn't want to stay asleep if we set her down. And that made it very difficult for anybody to get physical rest. Another example of rest in a season of what is possible and is not is hunting, okay? My family, we hunt for our meat. It's a meat that my husband can eat, which we have a lot of food-related issues in our family, so finding things that we can eat safely is a huge blessing, and wild game is one of those things. Hunting is absolutely not physically restful. It can be very, very exhausting because your body's dealing with temperature issues. You're climbing mountains, you're hauling out whatever you got. It's not physically restful, at least not how we do it, but it is mentally restful. And it can be spiritually as well. The mountains are where my husband goes when he needs to get away and reconnect with God. It also helps you get away from people, technology, and responsibilities, and it is an amazing place that I can just exist, no strings attached, and it is amazing. So those are examples that I thought of was, yeah, you don't get rest with babies. You just don't. But there are other seasons like you're having to do caregiving, or you're dealing with a sick kid, or maybe you garden and it's harvesting season. There are seasons where different kinds of rest really aren't possible. But even in those seasons where you can't rest in one way, you can still rest in other ways. So let's look at the 3 areas that we can find rest. I touched on this last week. There are 3 areas. There's physical, mental, and spiritual. When my oldest was born, yeah, she did start sleeping for 6 hours at a time pretty darn early, but I had a very traumatic birth experience and my body did not react well to giving birth. I needed sleep desperately so I could heal. And I had a baby dependent on me, and I have control issues and didn't want to let other people help. But I reached a point where I had to hand someone else my baby and turn on a fan so I couldn't hear the crying and just sleep. Was before my milk came in, which takes about a week for your milk to fully come in. And just doing that helped so much. There was another time when she was born that I just needed to get out of the house and see sunlight and just be without a child. And my mom and dad came up for a visit and she took the baby and told me to get out of the house, go on a walk, because I needed that space to just take a breath and mentally reset. And that brings us to the second one of mental rest. Getting overwhelmed in motherhood is inevitable. You're constantly serving, you're giving of yourself, you're making decisions for way more than just yourself. I make decisions for 3 to 4 people at a time, so many times. And decision fatigue in motherhood is a reality. You're also a unpaid referee to the world's smallest MMA fighters. What in the middle of that can provide mental rest? Well, this can be kind of a fun process. So some of the things that I found that gives me mental rest is making sure my counter is cleaned. It's weird, I know, but I need the counter to be cleared of dishes by the end of the day, and it just makes my brain happy. Another one is having a space that is livable and reasonably uncluttered, because physical clutter can make our brains get overwhelmed so fast. So I declutter a lot. And with kids, that makes it difficult because they're always bringing things home like rocks, sticks, projects from Sunday school. But decluttering, once I'm done, it just makes my brain go, ah. The other thing that you could do is read books. You can make things. You can do crafts. And if your kids don't want to let you, have them do a craft too. They love doing things with you. All kids love doing things with their parents to a certain degree, depending on their personality, but they still want to do things with them or for them if you have a little acts of service kid like mine. But doing things like that can give you mental rest. The third area is spiritual rest. When my husband got super, super sick, he ended up in a wheelchair. We had a baby, we had a toddler, and I was absolutely, completely, 100% overwhelmed and on the verge of a mental breakdown. But what I found in that time was that I had stopped making space to spend time with God, and I wasn't resting in Him at all. I was cut off from Him. I had cut myself off from God because in my mind, I was too busy. There was too much to take care of, and I needed sleep. So I cut myself off. Life absolutely sucked at that time, and it was crazy. But when I realized that that was why I was on the cusp of a breakdown after a minor breakdown in the girls' bedroom, I realized that I needed to do better simply because spending time with my Heavenly Father was restful, and it gave me the space that I needed to be able to start breathing and refilling so I could be the mom my kids needed. So now that we've covered those 3 areas of rest, the physical, the mental, and the spiritual, something you need to ask yourself is what can wait? This world has everything so urgent and so immediate, like text. Oh, there's a text, have to answer that. There's a phone call. Oh, wait, that's just another bot. There's an email. There's a notification from Facebook or Twitter or whatever you're on. But none of it is immediate. I turned off my text notifications a couple years ago, and I can't actually figure out how to turn them back on. And it's actually really nice to not have my phone constantly dinging. and to not be attached to it in that way. Now, I am still a chronic email checker, so that doesn't help, but I'm working on that one. Some of the things that can wait if you are a stay-at-home mom like me is dishes. Dishes can wait. They aren't immediate unless you need a pan to cook with, which you can totally just clean that pan. Laundry can wait. Your kids can go without underwear. They're probably doing it anyway and you just don't know. Sometimes even cooking can wait. Eat your leftovers. If you've got leftovers in your fridge and you just don't want to cook, mix it all up and call it something weird like Friday freestyle or something. I don't know. You don't have to cook all the time. Sometimes you also need to tell your kids no. Kids are super needy and they're really good manipulators. And sometimes they need to be told no because you need to take a step back so you don't snap. It's just a reality of dealing with people 24/7. These ones just happen to be people you're responsible for. What fills you as a person? There are different things that fill different people. My husband, and he needs to escape and breathe. He's got a select few people because he's a hermit at heart that he can go visit that will actually fill him. He needs to get outside and get in the mountains, and that totally refills him. I am more of a people person. If I need refilled, I need a people. Not my kids. The kids are great, but having a chance to breathe is a blessing. Having a friend, like my best friend, she's got 2 kids that my kids get along great with. So sometimes I need to just go visit and have the kids play together and not be on call 24/7. So like I said, I sew. I love sewing. It mentally refreshes me. Even though I'm problem solving, it refreshes me. Decluttering, organizing, writing, spending time with friends, like I said, hunting, going out in the mountains, fishing, hiking, doing one of the sports that are so popular right now, which I can't remember what it is. It's like a combination of ping pong and tennis, but I don't know. I don't remember what it's called. Anyway, I've never played it, obviously. Going out to the gym and working out, that can totally be refreshing. Maybe not physically at first, but there are chemical reactions to your brain that are very positive when working out. So working out can totally be an act of rest. What fills you as a family? Sometimes my kids just need me to sit on the couch and watch a movie that we've watched 20 million times and cuddle them. And that fills them up. Sometimes they need games. They need games all the time. So many games, but they're great for teaching your kids in case you're wondering. Going on walks, going fishing, skipping rocks on the river or a creek, getting out in nature, chasing starlings, cuddling, so many cuddles. They're usually pretty sweet cuddles. Visiting with friends, going out to play with friends. There's so many things that can be refreshing as a family. You just have to think about it and try things. What fills you as a couple? This one can be a little more tricky because it's so easy to just shuck our spouse aside and focus on our kids. And that's not healthy and it's not okay and it's not biblical. You've got to do things together as a couple, one-on-one, private conversation. Look each other in the eye and say, honey, I see you. I'm sorry you have spit up. Yeah, I see you. I see that. You need time together as a couple. And this can still be when the kids are present. But you've got to take time to figure out what fills you as a couple and make sure you're staying connected because marriage is vitally important. And if you're wondering what you can do, there are some episodes I did a couple weeks ago. Check out episode 59, 55, and maybe even 57. But check those out. Those are focused on marriage, okay? And those might be able to help you out. And if not, shoot me an email. There'll be, if you head on over to my Substack page, there's a link in there you can email me on. So, homework for this week. How can you rest in the season you're in? If you're in the newborn season, it's not great. If you're in the potty training season, good luck. If there's other factors in life, that's okay. It's life. You've got to deal with it. That's why God gave us himself so we could lean on him for help and he could speak wisdom into us because we need all the help that we can get. Pray about it. God is so good at revealing what we need. He's so good at providing what we need so that we can then encourage each other. What season are you in? What can you do where you are? And please, please, please tell me. I would love to hear it. Head to bit.ly/Time for Mom chat and leave a comment. And remember to subscribe to Time for Mom Substack because you will not want to miss the next workshop. It was so much fun the last time I did it, and I'm really looking forward to doing it again. So until next week, mamas, I just pray that you find the season that you're in and the rest you're able to get in that season. Love, Cheryl. Hey, beautiful. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds to share this with a mom who's wading through those mounds of laundry and dishes and wishing for just a little me time? Also, please leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It makes my day to know this podcast has helped you. Well, it's time for me to wash more dishes and cook more food. I'll meet you next Wednesday for another episode. Until then, may the God of grace fill you with his peace.